picture this revival that you have been crying out for. Picture your prayers that you've been asking for manifesting. What does that really look like? And then I want you to take that answer and apply it to the nations around the world. The revival that you're crying out for, look at it in all the nations. If you're in this room, then you have the same vision that I have. And that is to see and serve as a hub of revival for the nations by sustaining a culture of true God encounters, equipping the end-time army, and commissioning reformers into their prophetic destiny. So we want to see that vision come to pass. We want to be that hub of revival for the nations. And so one way that we can make this mission statement come to pass is by obviously manifesting our revival and being revival for people, but I think another powerful way is also demonstrating that through dance. And I want to be able to do that for this ministry is demonstrate our mission statement through dance for people that come here. And one reason I want to do that is not just because I enjoy dancing, which I do. I was a student drama leader on the West Form Youth Group team, and I enjoyed that a lot. But the real reason is because one time in prayer in my room, I was just asking God for revival for this nation. But He placed in me just a bigger vision. And this is what I saw, was men and women on their knees in prayer. And they were wrapped up in these flags. And they were rocking back and forth in prayer with such passion that there were tears streaming down their faces. And what they were praying for was revival in the nations that they were carrying on their shoulders. And so, as I'm watching this, I hear just a whisper of prayers. But slowly it grows louder and louder until there's this roar of revival in my ears. And then I see America over here, and she stands up and begins to dance. She begins to manifest her prayer through dancing. And it looked a lot like what we would see in a typical American worship dance service if someone were dancing. But then I see another nation stand up. For example, we'll use Africa, stands up and begins to dance in a way that would be native to their culture. So this continues happening until all the nations are standing up, doing individual native dances. They're manifesting their prayers for revival through dance. And then America again steps forward and out. And this isn't to go to say that I think that America is going to be the one that starts revival, but that's just what this ministry is called to serve as a hub of revival for the nations. And so that hub steps out and again regains the main focus of the audience. And then this nation, Africa, stands up and goes forward once again. And instead this time, Africa takes on the motions of America, and America takes on the motions of Africa. So what was two separate dance moves becomes one dance move, one prayer, until all the nations are standing up, until one fluid dance, one fluid prayer. And so I just received that heart at the end of that vision to see that really come to pass. And the main reason that I want to see that here is just that people will come here and really know that that is our vision. It's so much bigger than Cleveland, Tennessee. But before we can do that as a drama team, we really need to get down to the basics and know what we're doing. And so we need to know our costume as well as our role, and then properly set it up through an introduction. So starting off with costume, basically what it does, it shows the character of who we are to be. And there's an artistic producer named Sabrina Everett who says that costume design is important because it immediately supports the characters in the story being told. It helps an actor find his or her character, and when it comes right down to it, if the actors are not believable as their characters, then the audience will suspend their disbelief. So you want to be believable for sure. But in this particular drama, we're not necessarily characters as much as we are nations. And so we're going to need to be able to be in unity, but also to be distinct so that the audience can tell what nations we are. And so the unity comes through dark pants and a white shirt, but then the distinction would come through having your nation's flags or the nation's colors here, and in the back also having your nation written across, so that no matter what position you are dancing in, they'll be able to decipher who you are. And so that's just the costume that we will be having. And then you have to know also the role of what you're going to be doing. And there's two separate roles. There's going to be the role as an individual and a role as a team. on this drama. And so obviously, your role as an individual is going to be a lot greater. It's pretty much comprised of solos, which is going to require discipline as well as creativity. Because basically, you become the point man for that particular dance. So people are going to look to you to be teaching them that. And then our role as a team is to be able to serve one another in this. You don't want to have one nation outshining another, because that would contradict the whole message we're trying to portray. There's a leadership expert as well as a speaker, you've probably heard of him, John Maxwell. He says that in his 1999 book, servanthood is not motivated by manipulation or self-promotion. It is fueled by love. In the end, the extent of your influence depends on the depth of your concern for others. And so we want to serve one another in this and not upstage, which is basically defined as the notion of drawing attention to oneself and away from a fellow actor by moving upstage. And that's according to dictionary.com. So we really just want to have a fluid motion. We want to complement one another, and where there is weakness, we want to bring strength as a team. And that's not only as the drama team, but also the message that we're trying to show them as nations is complementing to one another, being in unity, serving one another, and also where there is weakness, we bring strength. And so that's your costume, got your role, and then you have to begin the drama through a proper introduction. You want them to be drawn in immediately. And a good introduction is going to show the audience the who, the what, where, when, and how of the message that you're trying to portray. And so you want to do that as quickly as possible. You don't want them to understand at the end, oh, I get it, there are a bunch of nations now coming together. You want them to understand quickly, that way they can receive the message throughout to the fullest potential that they can. There's a civil rights leader named William Young Jr. who said it was better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So one way that we do this and properly introduce the drama is by having our props already in place. That includes your costume being in place, as well as your flags and knowing where they go once we're finished with them. And then a second prop that I think would be important is to have a cross either in the background or off to the side, just so it shows that we're not promoting like universalism or coexist, a bunch of religions coming together, but more a bunch of nations coming together for revival under Jesus Christ, underneath the cross. And then second, for your introduction, music, because music is another primary indicator of what they're about to see. It provides roles for them and shows them the shifts in our drama, because like when America stepped out, they are dancing to American worship music. Africa joins them, so you're going to hear African drums added to that American music. So as the dance builds on top of each other, so the music is building on top of it. So that will help them see that we're bringing together unity. But also, not only is it cues for our audience, but it's cues for us up here on stage. Because if you're Africa and you're on the ground still praying and you hear drums, you know you're supposed to be up there dancing. And then last, music will also provide emotion to them. It's a key for that. There's a musician who is also a cognitive psychologist named Daniel Levitin, and in his 2006 book he says that music has the ability to elicit emotion from its listeners. Happiness, sadness, relaxation, frustration, and aggression are feelings conjured up by music. But there's something so much greater than music that we want to portray in this. Our greatest goal is not having the proper costumes or even the good role that they are able to see or some introduction. The greatest thing that we can really show them is to deposit in them a real heart for revival that's bigger than Cleveland, bigger than America, but will really burn in them for the nations and be able to send this end-time army out with a true burning for revival and be able to